Somewhere in the inner cities of London, there are kids who've got one chance of getting out of the poverty that they're in. There are hotbeds of football all around the world, guys. The only place that soccer is a middle class game is in the US. And let me give you a stat. More people have been launched into outer space by the USA than have had a decent career in Europe. So the bald facts are, it's easier to become an astronaut than it is to become a professional footballer. Now, if we were in astronaut camp, there'd be a lot of hands going up, wouldn't there, to be to one of the guys to go into space. Got it? So if you want to be the one, not the one out of this camp, not the one out of 100 camps, but the one person out of 500 camps all over the US to make it and do what he did, and do what he did, and do what Marcus did, you've got to be better than all of them. Are you with me? Which, I wasn't being disrespectful to you, young man. What I was trying to point out was, to do what he's done is more difficult than to fly to the moon. And I know that sounds ridiculous, but I promise you it's a fact.
So I'll give you an example. So when I started giving up the other sports to concentrate on being a soccer player, my father, who was a baseball player, pitched at Washington State, got drafted by the Yankees in the late rounds, and never went. Didn't feel he could do it. But so I have this conversation with my dad. I'm about 16, and I say to him, "Well, it's okay, Dad. You know, I'm going to concentrate on being a soccer player." But he said, "But there's no professional league in America at this time. The NASL had folded. MLS hadn't started yet." I said, "It's okay." I said, "You know, my goal is to go to Europe and preferably play in England in my pro career there." And my father, being kind of a typical American, you know, didn't have a passport, never traveled to Europe, never kind of that side of it. It wasn't until probably about 30 years, 20 years later, that I realized that I was the first American to play in England on a US passport. I was the first American to play in Spain. You know, I was the first American to captain his side in Germany. But that's the confidence. That's the borderline arrogance you have to have, is that this is what I'm going to do and this is how I'm going to do it. But the one thing, to Paul's point, is, of course, have your dreams, pursue your dreams, and if your dream is to be a professional, do everything you can to do that. But understand, the odds are stacked up against you, so prepare for something else.